Hello people, John the Biker here, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me on a bike review, first one in a long time, and today it's going to be on the 2021 Honda CRF1100 Africa Twin. If you want to hear what I've got to say about this bike, join me after this intro. Welcome back to the channel folks. If you've been here before, if it's your first time, thanks for joining us. Today, like I says, I'm doing a bike review on the Africa Twin. First one in a long time. I've been having a lot of problems over the last few months and I haven't been able to get out to do anything at all. I feel like I've wasted my summer, but we're making up for it now, so hopefully more bike reviews coming, but today, Africa Twin. So, this is not the first time I've ridden this bike. I've ridden a few of these over the last 2 years. I first rode it maybe 2020, I think it was. I absolutely loved it, and then I went back and had another go. I loved it even more, and I had to go back a third time and try the DCT. Didn't love it as much, and then a fourth time, which is now, and I love it again. I've had it for a few weeks now. Oh, a week actually, not a few weeks. So I thought, you know what, I really need to get out and do a review on this bike. So we're going to talk about first impressions. So, you know, it's not a first impressions video, unfortunately, because I have ridden the bike, or one of these bikes, a number of times before, but I'm going to tell you what stands out to me as I ride along here. You've actually caught me on a little bit of a run on my own. I'm heading up to a place called the CRF Valley, and just outside Glasgow, because it's such a lovely evening. Everybody in the house is away to work, or you know, they're busy doing other things, so yeah, John's out on the bike. So the first things I'm going to talk about, or the first things I think about when I'm riding this bike, is how comfortable it is. Now that's not to say that it's got the most comfortable seat I've ever had on a bike, but it is a very comfortable riding position. Starting with my arms, you know, the handlebars, as you can probably see, are nice and wide apart, which is giving me great control of the bike. And my back is nice and straight. I should have mentioned I've got a slight bend on my arms as well, which I like. So I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not stretching or anything like that. I've got a nice bend in my arms, and my back is nice and straight. My leg position is not quite 90 degrees, but not far off it either. So I quite like that. I'm not going to get any cramps or that on my legs, which I suffer from quite badly. So yeah, overall, the sitting position is that like kind of triangular sitting position between your hands, your bum and your feet, to me is very comfortable. I don't want to knock the seat. This bike's not even a year old and it hasn't really been ridden that much, so the seat probably just needs to be broken in a little bit. But yeah, it's very good. I really like the sitting position on the bike, or the comfort of the sitting position. Another thing that I really like about this bike is the height. As you can probably see from the camera angle, I'm sitting very high up and I can see over the traffic, and also it helps the traffic see me. So yeah, I really like the height. I'm a big fan of tall bikes, so yeah, very good. I like that as well. Last thing that I'll talk about, for first things that I think about when I'm riding the bike, is the sound of the engine, or more probably the exhaust as well. It sounds absolutely brilliant. I really like the sound of the bike. It just sounds rough, you know, not in a struggling way. It just sounds really good. So yeah, I really like the sound of the bike. And you know what, I'm going to add one more thing in there actually. One of the other first things you think about when you look at this bike is how good it looks. To me, it looks absolutely brilliant. There's not many bikes out there that I think look better than this, but this is the type of bike that I'm into. So yeah, that's the last one. The bike looks fantastic. Okay, there you go folks, that's something quite uncharacteristic of me. I was on the motorway, not something that I am known for doing, but it was only about half a mile or so, so just to get me off the main roads. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, so that's the things that I personally like about the bike. Got all this rubbish, there's all the bin men are on strike in Scotland, so all this rubbish lying everywhere, so sorry about that folks. Anyway, so let's talk about the bike. I'm sure you don't want to know about bin men. By the way, I support them, what they're fighting for. If there's any bin men out there watching the video, good luck. But yeah, let's talk about the bike. So, as the name would suggest, Honda CRF1100. It's an 1100cc bike. Well, to be more precise, it's a 1089cc. And it's producing about 101 horsepower. And I believe it's about 104, or yeah, I think it's 104 newton meters of torque. So it's quite torquey as well. It's a parallel twin, again, going by the name, twins. All Africa twins are twins. And it's got a 6-speed gearbox. It's got one of those mad names like multi-clutch coil spring gearboxes. 6 gears, 1 down, 5 up, just standard stuff for most bikes these days, I think. There is a DCT version of this bike, like I mentioned, and I did try it, but it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't a fan of it. I didn't dislike it, it just wasn't for me. I like to stop at traffic lights and, you know, rev the engine up a little bit sometimes, and well, I can do that on the DCT, but I'd need to put it in neutral every time. I don't want to do that. I like just pulling the clutch in and having fun. But no, the engine itself is very, very good. Obviously it's a, like I said, I did say parallel twin, it is a parallel twin, and it's liquid cooled. Final drive is chain, so it's chain driven bike, something that I'm not really used to anymore, because I drive a Triumph Tiger 1200, which is shaft driven. But yeah, a very punchy engine, and it has multiple levels of torque, so we can adjust it as we go along, and you can adjust the power reduction in the engine and stuff like that, but I'll talk about the electronic stuff later. So yeah, a very good engine, and it's an engine that you use on a few other bikes now. The 1100 engine, or the 1089, it's only been around or this version of it's only been around for a few years. 2020, I believe, is when it started, so it's coming up for 3 years now. And I know they use it in the Rebel, the Honda Rebel 1100, which I've not been able to get out on yet. But I know it's the same engine, obviously just tuned slightly differently. So yeah, it's getting used on a few other bikes. So, you know, and it's 3 years. They must have worked out any problems that they might have had over the first few years. But I like it anyway, it's a good engine. Suspension on the bike, so fully adjustable front and back, for preload, on dampening, rebound, or I don't know what you call it, but the 3 things you can adjust on the suspension. I have never really been one for messing around with suspensions, but on this bike I was having a little play about with it. I took this off-road. They allowed me to take it on the gravel tracks and stuff like that, and a few dirt tracks. So I thought I would mess about with the suspension a little bit, and it's very easy to do. Now you can get the super fancy version of this bike if you want to pay a few more pennies, and it comes with electronic suspension, or electronic preload at least anyway. I think there's an even super duper version that has all the fancier stuff. But personally, I was quite happy playing about with the little screws to, you know, increase it and decrease it, whatever, and it worked perfectly fine. Like I said, we've had it just coming up for a week now, I think it is, and I have had a chance to take it on roads, off road, things like that, and yeah, it's really good. As for the overall comfort of the bike, with the suspension, nice and smooth. I've not had any kind of jarring or anything on my back, and yeah, no pain, so all good for the suspension. So best to mention the brakes on the bike. So on the front we've got twin 310mm discs. It's got switchable ABS or something like that. I think that's what you call it. And it's got 4-piston Nissan calipers on the front. On the back is a 256mm disc, and I think that's a twin piston caliper, and they work absolutely perfectly. I really like the fact that you can switch the ABS on and off in this bike, and when you're going off-road, it's only the rear wheel so you still get that front brake ABS, but the rear wheel, you know, you can lock it up in a little bit of skid. You can skid a little bit now and then. So yeah, all round, brakes are very good. I've not had any issues with them. Good stopping power. Tyres on the bike, so one of the first things you will actually notice on this bike, which I didn't mention earlier on, is the size of the front wheel, and that's probably due to the fact that's what makes it high actually. So I did mention it in a way, but it's got a very big front wheel, 21 inches, which is the biggest front wheel that I've had on a bike when I've been riding. And obviously that's just to go along with its off-road capabilities, because yeah, this bike is an enduro off-road. That's what it's classed as, and like I said, I've done it. I've done a little bit of it, nothing fantastic, but you know, I'm getting there. So yeah, it's got a big, massive front wheel, 21 inches, and I don't know if it's in my head or not, but it feels a little bit like it's a little bit harder to manoeuvre, maybe. Not to the point where I feel like I can't manoeuvre it, but it's just different, I guess. And it's because that big front wheel, it's quite a skinny front wheel. I think it's like 90 millimeters or whatever it is. So it's quite a skinny front wheel as well. Rear wheel, just normal. It's an 18-inch rear wheel. And the bike came with the bike comes with Bridgestones as standard. So I think it's Bridgestone Battle Axe Trail Attacks or Adventure Trail, something like that. And they're like a, you know, an off-road, on-road tyre. So I guess somebody told me it was like a 70-30, so 70% on-road, 30% off-road. And to be perfectly honest, they've worked brilliantly. Not had much rain here recently in the last few months, really. Like anywhere else in the UK, we've been basking in heat wave after heat wave, and Scotland's been no different. So we've not had very many rainy days, but I have been caught in the rain a couple of times, and just the other day there. But yeah, the tyres worked perfectly fine for me. I'm not a biggest fan of Bridgestone tyres, but these ones are working perfectly fine, no issues with them. Electronics on the bike, so this version I'm on, this is the more off-road focused version of the bike. It is it's got less electronics than the Adventure Sports version, I guess, which is the white one with the red and blue highlights, which looks very good, by the way, but it costs a lot more. So yeah, electronics, it's got LED lights all round, which is great. I really like LED lights, and it's got this lovely big TFT monitor on the front, and as you can see, it's got built-in, well, it's got Apple CarPlay, so I've got my phone attached there, and I've got my GPS working. I hope you're getting to see this, because the sun's right in front of me now, and this camera is not the best in the sun. But yeah, it's got this lovely big TFT monitor. It's got all the information that I need, and then if I plug my phone in, I get Apple CarPlay. So there's a look at the normal display. Yeah, very easy to use. Just flick a switch on the left-hand side switch gear, and it changes to your normal riding information, and then flick it again back to your TFT screen, your Apple CarPlay screen. It hooks up to your phone. You can play music through it, use Apple Maps, etc. Very, very good system, and it's got everything I need. When I'm in this mode, it's got a separate screen at the bottom, which tells me my speed and gear position. That's it, really. Yeah, so all good. Different versions of the bike come with different things. Obviously, you pay a little bit extra money, you get a few extra goodies. So things like heated grips and the fancy suspension, that would all be included in your electronics package. But as for this bike, this is it. As you can see, they've got this cable going into my phone, so USB, and that's keeping my phone charged for me. The only way you can use the Apple CarPlay function on this bike is to have your phone switched in, or so I'm told. I'm sure there's people out there that's figured out a way not to do it. I personally don't want to have my phone on the handlebar, but that is what it is, right? It's working for me just now. A few other bits of information about the bike. So the weight, so if I remember right, it's 210 kilograms. So it's not a lightweight, but there's definitely heavier bikes out there. The Tiger, for instance, is 250, 260 kilograms. So it's a lot lighter, so at 40 kilograms, it's half my body weight, right? So yeah, and I'm definitely feeling it, it's a lot lighter. Seat height, adjustable seat height on this bike. So it can go from 33.5 to 34.5, something like that, inches that is. And I've got it on the highest setting because I'm quite tall, I'm 5'11", and I can get my feet flat on the ground, both feet flat on the ground. Obviously if it was on the lower setting, I'm not going to have any issues either. But I think if you're a little bit taller, a little bit shorter, you may have some issues, maybe like 5 foot 6, 7, things like that. You're going to have to use a lower seat height maybe. Maybe you have to get it lowered. I don't know if they do a lowering kit for the bike, so I don't know. But yeah, it's for something my height, it's perfect. So I think what I'll do is I'll pull over somewhere and I'll give you a little look around the bike. Right, so here it is folks, the 2021 Honda CRF1100 Africa Twin, in red obviously. And like I said, it comes in red for the more off-road focused version. So you get the Adventure Sports one, which is white with the red and blue highlights, but I personally I like getting the red. I like the white one as well, and I've left my indicator, I've left everything on. That's a bit silly. Anyway, so let's talk about it, right? So as you can see straight away, big massive front wheel in these Bridgestone Battle Axe Adventure Tourer maybe. See, I've not had any issues with them, they're working very well for me. Nice big fairing on the front, it's keeping most of the wind off me. I believe there is little things you can buy to add to deflect it more. It's not the best, it's not as good as say the Tiger. And that's what I'm going to compare it to because that's what I own. Lovely engine in it, I love this brushed kind of bronze look on the engine, really good. I think it works really well. And I think a lot of Hondas come like that now. The exhaust on the bike, so this is standard exhaust or the standard can. I don't think I would change this. If I owned this bike, I don't think I would change that because it sounds perfectly good. I'll let you hear it in a minute before we leave here. On the back, the 18-inch wheel, again with the Bridgestone Battle Axe Adventure Tourer. And in there you can see the 256mm disc with the twin piston caliper from Nissan, and it works really well. It's not the best back brake in the world, but hey, back brakes aren't the best anyway. But yeah, very good. Really like the brakes. I should have mentioned the front ones. So the 310mm discs with the 4 piston calipers from Nissan, and again the front brakes work perfectly well. On the other side, not much else to see on the other side other than the chain. It's a chain driven bike, you've all seen chains, I don't have to show you chains. The switchgear, I'll show you the switchgear actually. People sometimes ask to see switchgear. So on the left, we've got like a multitude of buttons. There's probably too many buttons on this. These are all just basically for scrolling around, obviously your horn, and this star button is a favourite button to whatever you have your favourites. So right now I have this set as the torque control. Indicators and hazard lights. On the top of this switchgear here, we've got 3 buttons up here. We've got a function button which moves if you've got a few of the optional extras fitted, say like heated grips, this would turn up the heat on heated grips to whatever level you wanted them at. Right now all it does is volume for music, and on the it does the headlight as well actually, if you want to have it on automatic or manual. So you can okay, so that goes on the other one. This one here changes between your display modes, so your Apple CarPlay, and it is full Apple CarPlay, it's got all the apps there, and your riding information. You push it forward and it opens up Siri on your phone, so if you're riding along and you want to go somewhere particular, you can just say, you know, take me home or take me to the nearest petrol station, and it'll bring it up on the screen. On the back here we've got our headlight trigger button, just to change between dipped headlight when it's on automatic and full beam, and obviously passing. On the right we've got a lot less, thankfully. So at the back here we've got a function button, and that will change between heated grips, volume, headlights, and whatever else you've got attached to the bike. Obviously you need to use that in conjunction with this button to raise or lower the setting. Start button, cruise control, and then your cruise control adjuster. I don't know what the proper name is for that, but that's what I'm calling it, cruise control adjuster. The start button is one of these quick ones where you just tap it. Oh, I've left it in gear, rookie mistake. Right, so just one push of the button and the bike starts. I'm going to show you these daytime running lights. It's got these kind of like eyebrow things on it. I think it looks like a transformer, and I think a few people have said that, but I fully agree with it. The exhaust I think sounds brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. Yeah, brilliant. The seat on it, there's loads of space on the seat, so if you need to move around, if you want to try and get comfortable, there's loads of space to try and move around. I've not had too many issues with it. The seat's a little hard, if I'm being honest, but I'm hoping it's just because it's new. I think the more you use it, the softer it will get, I hope. Yeah, things that aren't standard on this bike, obviously the top box is not standard. This one's a giveaway. These red inserts on the handguard aren't standard. It just comes with, I don't know if you'll see it too well in the camera, but the black part, that's all it comes with. Apparently they don't put them on it because it's going off-road, and what's the point, because they'll just get broken. Maybe that's true, I don't know. The screen, I don't know, it's not a standard screen because it's Pug, I don't know how you pronounce it. So this looks like quite a tall screen for this bike. I think the standard screen doesn't come much higher than the TFT dash. So yeah, I hope you like it. I think it's absolutely fantastic looking bike. Really love it in the red. Love it in all the colours, to be fair, but yeah, I really like it in the red. So I think we'll get back on and we'll go along, and then I'm going to do a good run down this Carn Valley. So I'll add that on at the end of the video. But before I do that, I'll throw a few other nuggets of information for you, whatever I can think of. So something else I should actually mention is the mirrors. A lot of people want to know how the mirrors, how good they are. And I'm going to be honest, when I first started riding this bike, well, this particular bike, I didn't like the mirrors. There was something, I don't know, something felt off with them. But you know, I've played about with them for the last few days now, and you know what, I've actually had a complete change of mind with it, and I actually really like them. They're absolutely brilliant. There's no vibrations through them, and they sit really well. I've got a great view behind me. I think I must have just been used to the mirrors on the Tiger. So yeah, the mirrors, they work very well. Speaking of vibrations though, once you get up to speed, this bike is quite shaky or vibraty. Is that even a word? Oh, that is a word now, right? Vibraty. Definitely feel vibrations through the handlebars, and definitely feel vibrations through my feet. Now, it's not the worst thing I've ever ridden for vibrations, but yeah, it's only at high speed. Obviously this bike's not designed, it's not going to win races and things like that, even though it's very nippy. But you do get vibrations. Now I don't know if it just needs some better bar ends or something like that on it, or maybe it's the tyres. I'm not really used to riding bikes with knobbly tyres, and like I said, these tyres are designed for off-road riding, but they're not full off-road. So if anybody knows the answer, that maybe the knobbly tyres make vibrations through the handlebars or through the whole bike, I would really like to know that, if you could let me know. But yeah, it does have vibrations through it. One thing I didn't mention when I was talking about electronics earlier on was the rider modes. Now this bike comes with 6 rider modes, I believe it is, and they're very good. I've used them all. So you have Tour. I'm in Tour just now, and I tend to use Tour mode all the time. I just feel like it's the best all round. And when you're changing from the rider modes, I usually don't really notice much of a difference, but on this I kind of do, between some of them anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull over and I'm going to go over the rider modes with you because I think it's important to point these out to you. So I'm just going to pull over here. Hopefully I'm not going to be in anybody's way. I don't think I'll be in anybody's way here. So if looking at the screen now, it's in tour mode, and hopefully you can see it. And you've got these circles at the bottom, 4 of them. And I believe on the Adventure Twin, the Adventure Sports one, there's 4th, but I can't remember what the 4th one's for. But anyway, right now, P, E, B, and T. Now I would automatically assume that that's power, engine braking, and traction control. Well, I'm wrong, kinda. P is for power reduction. And you can see there's 4 levels of power reduction. So in tour mode, I've got power reduction down to level 1, which means I don't have quite the most power, but nowhere near the least amount of power. EB is engine braking. Again, on tour mode, I've got moderate, so there's only 3 settings, so I've got 3. It's not the most engine braking. And then the torque control, there's 7 settings. There's 7 or 8. It's 8 actually, because you can turn it off. So there's 7 settings and you can turn it off, so there's actually 8. To change the torque control, I just press the favourite button here, like I mentioned before, and I can change the torque control. If I go to this screen here, which is on the main screen, I can adjust the wheelie control as well, and right now it's set to 3, so I think that's, is it the most, is it yeah, I've got the most amount of wheelie control, so this bike should not wheelie, hopefully, because I don't really want to wheelie. And that's that, so that's tour mode. And so I've been keeping it in this because it's got good power, good engine braking, and the torque control I just play about with. Next rider mode is urban. So again, if you look here, the power reduction, it's got less power, same amount of engine braking, and again the torque I can change on the fly. So this is for, you know, city riding, I guess. So I don't want to be too nippy if I'm travelling in traffic and things like that. We've got gravel, so it's got the most amount of power reduction, the most amount of engine braking, and again the torque control is adjustable. But the ABS is off-road, so I don't really know what it changes. I can't turn the ABS off in this mode, but it says off-road. Now, I was told to use gravel mode and rain mode because the bike doesn't have rain mode, so that was a bit interesting. Next one is off-road, and again, same thing. It's got not the most amount of power, but not the least. Full engine braking and the torque control I can change. ABS is off-road, but this one I can actually turn it off. This is a touchscreen as well. If it detects my gloves, and it'll ask me, would you really like to cancel ABS rear wheel? And then I would say yes, and that's it. The ABS is now off. Put that back on in case I forget. There you go. It's back on. What have I done? I thought something happened there. Anyway, so off-road mode, so I can turn the ABS off. User 1 and user 2 are fully adjustable. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 rider modes. And like I said, I've been keeping it in tour mode all the time when it's been raining. Not that it's done that much. I've been using gravel mode because there isn't actually a rain mode. So yeah, that was worth mentioning. Anyway, folks, I think I'll leave it there. I'm going to go and enjoy this Carn Valley. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully I will be back before too long. Hopefully not as long as the last, between this video and the last video. Any comments, please feel free to leave a comment. I will answer as quickly as possible. If I've missed anything out and you want to know, just ask and I'll try and find out for you. But as always, I'm going to say, ride safe, folks. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and I'll see you soon. Bye. else.